Having an in-house expert to be able to create solutions for companies and having the knowledge of what the regulations say is critical to create a design package that's going to help the end user. Knowing what regulations we have to hit today, from labeling to watt hours to what amount of thermal mitigation that we're going to have to do is critical, but also knowing what the regulations are going to happen in the future. So having a pulse on where the trends are going are critically important. That way you're buying a package that's solving a problem today, but you're also knowing that you have the peace of mind that you've partnered with somebody that understands what's coming down the pike, and you can make something that's going to be able to withstand the regulations and be more compliant for a longer period of time.
And to build on what Chris is talking through, I would just add, when you're asking about specialized knowledge, for us that are consultants or someone like Chris, who's a specialist when it comes to packaging rules and regulations and packaging solutions, the specialized knowledge thing is quite important because we're in a business of comparative advantage, right? So our clients, our customers could spend the time to do a ton of research to know what we don't, to know what we know. But it's oftentimes going to be more in their interest to hire out specialized experts so they don't have to spend all that time doing research, so they can actually focus on their actual real job. So from the specialized side, bringing experts, like Chris, like myself, can certainly help a business cut right to the core of the issue and solve things in a way that would be extremely fast as compared to doing it themselves in-house. So if you think about developing solutions for safe storage of hazardous materials, specifically in our case, a lot of the times what we're thinking about are safe storage solutions for lithium batteries. When we're developing those safe storage solutions, the key point to always start from is what are the hazards that you're trying to contain, or what are the hazards that you're trying to protect against. So if we're talking about lithium batteries, we're talking about thermal runaway. And that thermal runaway process is going to include, in most cases, extreme heat, fire, projectile, and oftentimes some toxic or flammable gases. So if you're thinking about storage safety as well as transport safety, it's important, although thermal runaway is extremely rare, it is important to acknowledge that thermal runaways do happen. So from a storage perspective, what type of container level solutions are in play and what type of facility level solutions may be in play to mitigate those worst case scenario risks of a battery thermal runaway? So there's no one answer to this question. When we work with our clients to help on storage solutions, we look at what you're storing, in what configurations you're storing them, and then try to mitigate risks accordingly. Oftentimes, if you're storing, large format lithium batteries, having some type of fire-resistant case or fire-resistant cabinet is a fantastic best practice because in the event of a thermal runaway, you're going to be containing the flame, the projectile, to that cabinet or to that case, rather than allowing it to spread from different parts of the facility and possibly creating a propagation event that could burn down an entire facility. So when we're looking at solutions, again, we're looking at them as context dependent, but there are absolutely solutions out on the market that have been developed by packaging manufacturers and other fire professionals to mitigate risks of thermal runaway in transport as well as in storage.
To add to what Mike is saying, I think it's also critically important when you're choosing a packaging manufacturer, a lot like Americase is, we're a custom container manufacturer, there's more than one way to get to where you're going. You have to understand the risks that you're trying to absorb. Depending on your watt hour, the chemistry, or the size of battery, there isn't really a one size fits all in this industry. That's where customization is very valuable. Even in a value engineering, to where I'm not selling you something that's potentially far more expensive and is far probably an overkill on the amount of safety that it's bringing to the table, which is obviously not a good situation when you're having to buy multiples or many packages for transport and storage. Knowing what risk you have, understanding how you work with these devices, understanding the goalposts that you're trying to get the football through so you can create a safe solution is critically important. Coming on site and understanding, okay, this is a storage device. We need to key, is it inside or is it outside? Are there people around? What's the ventilation in the area? Well, what is going to be stored around it? All these little questions are critically important to create a perfect solution for you. The battery industry as a whole is moving so fast. The technology is getting better. It's also getting more powerful, and they're designing them for many different products to create a different reaction from the battery. And with that, there's plenty of people out there that are selling solutions that they are saying are meant for lithium batteries or contain thermal runaway. And even though generically that may be true and it's safer than what you had beforehand, the best thing to do is understand the risks, partner with somebody and create something that's bespoke and perfect that you can guarantee mitigates all the risks associated with lithium batteries in both transport and storage. As a packaging manufacturer, I think it's critical that you have in-house expertise understanding the regulations and the risks associated with lithium-ion batteries. It's a moving target. Not everything is the same. Not every solution is right for every battery, but having the people in your staff that understand these things, understand regulations, understand testing, understand consulting, and understanding packaging design is really a perfect situation that can account for all of these issues. If you just understand thermal runaway and just create a box that is just contains the fire or the ultimate hazard that's created with it, that's only really one leg of the three-legged stool. You have to have the testing that can support it. You have to have the manufacturing capabilities to understand how to design the package to be able to get the result that you're looking for, and then making sure that you're compliant. At Americase, we make sure that we absolutely test everything that we have access or capability to test. When we have that ability, we absolutely try to test it in a packaging solution that we either design or already have in-house that we think is right for the scenario. And then it's also critically important that we make sure that we check with our consultants to say, are we labeling it right? Are we meeting the 49 CFR? Are we breaking any of these little rules when you're creating packaging and you're trying to get creative? You can't color outside the lines. So having a consultancy group come in and tell you, yes, everything that you're doing is correct, you're okay in the eyes of the law, and you've developed a good product that is going to contain the thermal event. All of those things cannot be done unless you have in-house experts.
So I want to build on what Chris is saying here and really focus on the in-house part of it. Having in-house experts is extremely valuable. Now, I will say it can often be hard to find, but if you do have in-house experts on transportation, on storage, there is a lot of added value in the fact that they may not only, they understand the regulations, which is great, but the in-house part of this is really key because it's not only that they know the regulations, they also know how your business works. Right. So if you're thinking about an external consultant, I am one myself, and I would have to say that external consultants bring all of the knowledge to the table, but don't always know the ins and outs of the company right away. So if you have somebody on staff that is truly knowledgeable about these things, that also knows basically where the bodies are buried within the company, where to look, who to ask, that can be extremely valuable in terms of bringing expertise and in terms of uncovering issues within the organization that you may be able to hide from an external consultant. Thumbs up, but also cut that because that kind of goes against my entire business model, but it's true.